Black women go through in the media industry is the same thing Black women go through in nursing, same things that Black women go through as a lawyer, same things, like we all have to deal with the same shit. We have to deal with unequal pay. We have to deal with colorism. We have to deal with, especially if we're in racism, sure, but colorism is even worse. And maybe that's another thing for women in media. The colorism is real.
Get to the cake. I'm on a mission for Maze, no matter how long it's gonna take. I could just see it already. Give me that new Benz or the Wraith. Watch on my own back where I'm from. It was never safe. Yeah. Need 100 M's up in the safe. Last chance, life a movie. Roll another one and get baked. Mix the honor wealth with the Gucci. Yeah. You know when I get up in it, I promise you gon' catch film.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Between the Lines podcast. Of course, Kese here, your host. If this is your first time tuning in, I appreciate you. Please go back and check out previous episodes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you can listen to your favorite podcast on whatever platform you like to listen to. If you're a returning viewer, right, we have a phenomenal guest today. Before we get into the guest, just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that this is going to be a very, very, different kind of conversation, right? One thing I like to do for the audience and, just for the guests of the show is just kind of give you guys a different perspective and not just talk about the good things of the individual, but also give you just understanding of how they got to where they got to. And with that being said, we have a phenomenal guest, right? Zayna, first and foremost, before we give you the mic and the floor, I appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you for having me.
You have so many different things going on.
Yeah, we've been trying to set this up for a minute.
You always have these schedules, so I appreciate you, for getting on. She is a journalist, a host in her own right. She does so many things in the entertainment industry. And I just thought, what better person to have on the show to kind of give, those value on how to kind of break into the industry, but more importantly, just some steps, right? So, Zayna, real quick, before we even dive into the good stuff, just kind of real quick, how's your 2024 going so far? What you been up to? What's new, man? What's going on?
Well, it's ending. Q1 is ending, and 2024 has been really good for me. I wanted to take this time actually, and maybe we might get into it later down the line, but I've been hustling for so long, so I took this is like the first time or first season that I've been in where like I'm a little stable. So instead of like trying to find what's next or like trying to hustle to get to the next level, the next step, I'm like, let me just chill. Let me just be, and I don't believe in hustle culture. I don't. Yes. So I do not believe in hustle culture. So, being in this space, I was forced to hustle for so long. So being in this space of like not doing anything is really, it feels good to me. Although there are times where I'm like, I'm not doing enough. Of course. But, then I take a step back. I'm like, I'm doing well, So that's how my year's been going thus far, staying prayed up, working hard.
As you should. But where does that, just like, because it's the first time I've kind of gotten that type of perspective of, not believing in hustle culture. Mm-hmm. And, it's crazy because from the outside looking in, it seems as if like that's all you do, right? To the typical person that don't know you or people that do know you and they just see your platforms, things of that sort. So where does that philosophy come from? What makes you say I don't believe in the hustle culture? Like, what is that?
I don't believe in hustle culture because I feel like we as a society take out the fact that we're human when we divest into or invest into hustle culture. We forget that we have to take time to rest, that we have to live. I think that hustle culture is based on the format of we have to get to a certain goal and you should not rest until you get to that goal. I guess this is a part of like the theme that I have with my life is that you're more than your career, you're more than the money that you make, you're more than your accomplishments. And I think hustle culture is very focused heavily on just your career, your accomplishments, and your money. And if it makes people forget to be human.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's like you want to work so hard to just do certain stuff or to get to a certain place that you just forget to self-care. Yeah. Right? Really just pour into yourself and fill up your own cup. But before we kind of, again, move forward, I want to just kind of backtrack to a little bit about you real quick before we get into the good stuff and the nitty-gritty. So, of course, how was your breakthrough into, just the industry, or how did you even get to that point? What made you want to do what it is that you do now? I know we both went to Del State. Shout out to DSU, and I believe you majored in mass comm and
Yes.
things of that sort. So this is something that you always knew you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So how did you get into that space?
Well, I always wanted to be in entertainment. Growing up, even when I was a kid, like I knew at 3 or 4 that I wanted to be in entertainment. Like I was a lively kid, and so I started out acting. When I was 5, I was in like a little play in kindergarten, and then when I was 7, I got casted in my first role, like first real role, as Annie. You know Annie, the play, the movie, the curly redhead, whatever. Yeah, it's fine, whatever. I was casted as Annie, Black Annie, which was really dope for me, and that was like my first real play that I was ever in, and I didn't have to audition for it. Like the person who was casting was like, "Oh no, I know your daughter." They told this to my mom, like, "I know your daughter. She'd be great." So from there, I just got this bug, like I want to be star, you know. I want to be in the spotlight. Yeah, so I was a theater kid for the rest of my childhood. I went to a performing arts high school as a theater major, and interestingly enough, we had this program where we could be high school seniors and college freshmen at the same time. So my senior year of high school, I went to Kane University in Jersey. Yeah, and well, King Kane, people say I switch it on. But yeah, so I went there as a senior, and nobody on the campus knew that we were there as seniors in high school. They all thought we were freshmen, and so when I went there, I had to take just one like silly willy-nilly class, and I decided to do video production, right? And I thought it was going to be an easy A. I just took it because my friends were taking it, and that class actually made me fall in love with video production, and that was the reason why I stepped out of theater and wanted to be in video, and I still wanted to be in front of the camera, but not really acting. Like I wanted to be like Roxy. No, I wanted to do both. I wanted to be in front of the camera. I wanted to be like Roxy, or I feel like every Black person that wants to be in media or something like that or in front of the camera always says like 106 Park is there. Yes. So I wanted to do that, but I also loved producing. So that happened. I went through that class, and then I graduated high school, and then I went to Dell State. Dell State took those credits as well, so I was a freshman and a sophomore at the same time. And through Dell State, I grew video production and on-air skills. Graduated, did not get a job. I graduated in 2016, did not get a job until 2017. That was my first job that I got.
You graduated 2016? Okay, you got your first job.
First job, April of 2017. And I've just been on that path since.
How so we're getting into the entertainment industry is not easy.
No.
People see, of course, again, the good stuff, but it's very challenging to really get your breakthrough into the industry, especially like you said, just really being stable and having something that's like really yours. What was the mindset for you, when you graduated, that time frame of like, okay, I just graduated, but I don't necessarily have any job yet, or I'm not really finding the gig. What was your perspective at that point? Was it just, okay, I'm just going to keep grinding and just really figure it out? Or did they just come to you? What were you thinking at that time?
I was
just getting through.
Oh yeah, no, I had post-grad depression for sure. Because I did not, this was the one thing that I wanted my entire life, So they say you go to college, and once you graduate from college, the jobs are going to be lining up, you're going to be an adult. And I did not feel like an adult. I felt like I wasted my money at Dell State. I felt like I wasted the money that was given to me by taxpayers for my school's program to go to school early. I felt like I was purposeless. I felt so lost. It was a really tough time. I wouldn't say that I had this mentality of we're just gonna keep grinding and we're gonna. I wouldn't say that. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all like that. I was just I had a job as a lifeguard at the time, and it was full time. I had benefits. I had all that stuff. So I just kept that job. And interestingly enough, I was okay. So I got my first gig. I used to be a volunteer for a program that I was in high school called the Black Achievers. And for Martin Luther King Day of 2017, they asked me to come back and just speak about how the program helped me out, right? So it was for the town or whatever. And there was like news people there from local news stations. And I got up and I spoke about the program and I said that I am a mass communication, or I just graduated with my degree in mass communications. I aspire to be da-da-da-da-da. And that was when I got my break. The camera crew there, the manager, he came up to me. He was like, "Hey, like we love your speech. We heard you say that you wanted to be on air. We have a position open to do like some freelance, stuff in the town. So like Christmas tree lightings, I would like go around with the camera and talk to people that were at the events and stuff like that." And he was like, "Okay, like that position's open. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, like." Let's do it. Let's do it. So that was my first gig, and they actually did. That was in Martin Luther King Day is in January. I didn't get my first he didn't call me until April, but yeah, that's how I got into it because I spoke about what I aspired to do, not because. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's not because I was like grinding, like I gotta put content out, and I was not like that.
Yeah, and I appreciate you for like. Again, saying that because I think the transparency is what the people really need to hear if you're watching or listening. I think it's just imperative to really understand that, again, you see the good stuff, but it's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes in terms of just like your well-being and just really staying motivated. So with that being said, how do you stay, whether it's right now or just in general in the craft of journalism and being in media, how do you stay inspired in your field of work though? Like what motivates you and inspires you to, just get better at the craft and, what inspires you to just like keep doing?
I have a business. I have a course for those trying to break into the media industry. It's a 12-week course. It's called Hybrid Host Workshop. And we have a class every fall. And one of the biggest things I try to teach my students is that you have to know your why. And because without knowing your why, you're going to get lost in the glitz and glamour or the lack thereof of the glitz and glamour and, not want to push forward anymore. And your why is what anchors you. I also call your why like your anchor, like a boat anchor.
That's it.
Yeah, so...
What's yours?
My why is I feel like I have this platform and this ability to bring light to the stories of people who do not have the ability to do so, and even if it's like bigger people, celebrities, smaller people, anything like that, like it's still important to me as a journalist. And as journalists in general, we have that responsibility to share stories. Like that's what we're supposed to be doing. And that's why I love what I do, specifically for Black people, even more specifically for Black women. And I have been lucky and blessed enough to have positions and be in positions now where I'm focusing solely on Black stories, Black people, Black women, the things that we go through, sad, happy, funny, like the entire spectrum of who we are as Black people. And I have the ability to tell those stories of those people. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow, damn. That was deep. And I think that's kind of why I fell in love with podcasting also. It's just like the ability to just kind of have very good conversations and just give people that different perspective from what they see often. But again, just knowing more of who you are. Because when somebody watches this and they hear your why, or they just kind of hear the things that you're talking about, it's going to be, okay, well, I know Zayna, but just kind of hearing her talk about, these things, it's like, okay, now it makes me view her differently, but in a better way. And with that being said, what do you think are, for women specifically, I don't want to necessarily talk about the men yet, but for women specifically, right? When it comes to media, I feel like there's so many different, there's so many different opinions, and there's so many different, just so many different viewpoints of just women in the industry, because you have to maintain a certain image, you have to always look a certain way, you have to, people just expect so much of you guys, right, when it comes to being in the industry. What would you say are some of the challenges for women in media, right, that, we should learn about, right, or some of the misconceptions or just things that women face on a daily when it comes to, the media and just like being on the forefront,
I think,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think that a big misconception is that we are not like everybody else. the media industry, although it is very nuanced and it doesn't have a straight path, like doctors, lawyers, they have a little bit more of a set path on how to level up. Ours is a little different, but the things that black women, I'm going to say black women because that's what I relate with. Black women go through in the media industry is the same thing black women go through in nursing, same things that black women go through as a lawyer, same things, like we all have to deal with the same shit. We have to deal with unequal pay. We have to deal with colorism. We have to deal with, especially if we're in racism, sure, but colorism is even worse. And maybe that's another thing for women in media. The colorism is real, very real. If you are a darker woman, sometimes a lot of opportunities on air are not going to be given to you because you're darker, even no matter like what your features are or how great your talent is. Like it be like that. If you're a bigger woman, same thing. Like it's all the same across the board, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that. And you kind of mentioned, previously about, just your ability to kind of storytell and kind of give it, just that viewpoint. So how do you approach, what's your technique for, storytelling, right? How do you prepare? What do you do different to kind of make your story, gravitate toward the audience? What's your preparation like, when you're out there doing what you do best?
I sell a course for this, so I can't give all the tea out. No. But I think that what I do to prep my stories is always research. Research is number one. Do not go in front of anybody's camera, in front of anybody's child when you're interviewing them or have to speak on something and you do not have all of the facts. You have to know everything about who you're talking to and what you're talking about. So I think that's my biggest thing when it comes to prep. And that's it. Yeah, I'm that's it.
Get the course if you want to learn more.
Yeah.
And you kind of talk about research, and even for another journalist or a podcaster or whatever the case may have you, or even for myself, right? What does the art of researching actually look like, right? Because, okay, so here's the thing. You're a journalist. I wouldn't say I'm a journalist. I just like to have conversations with people, right? What's the difference there, though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do one research for an interview? Or what does research actually look like?
So I think that the difference between a journalist and I guess someone who just wants to talk, I guess, is the way that you view an angle or you do all your research on who this person is. Okay, let's back it up. Let's say I'm interviewing somebody. I'm researching what they do, who they are. Unless, if their PR person sent me things, if I'm interviewing a celeb and their PR person says, okay, they're here to talk about this and this. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm going to leave you at that. But if this is just so-and-so is ready for an interview. Okay, sure. Do some research on them. Again, if they're a bigger name, I will go and look at articles that they recently have been a part of, people who've interviewed them or whatever. And then from doing all of my research, I'm I saw that. I don't know. I saw that there was a point in time where they said they wanted to open a school. And I think that's really big because my platform is about education. And because of that, I'm going to take that angle of them wanting to open up a school and focus the interview on that. So it's about your angle and how you plan on pulling out information properly for what you need them for, what you need that person for, what you need that interview for.
And I believe you've worked with WBLS and Hot 97 and things of that sort. And you kind of talk about getting the guests and people that you're going to be interviewing. Do they kind of come, do you have a representative that kind of find the guest and they tell you, okay, hey, you're going to interview this person? Or is it just more so you being an employee or someone that works for the company, you get to just reach out and how do you find... how does the guest get to you, and how do you... Yeah,
so it depends on the company that you work for. Some companies, I used to work for an outlet called Cheddar News, and it's a digital news outlet, but it was a very big company. It still is a big company, and we never booked anything unless we knew someone and we're oh, okay, they would be a great person for this segment, and we would set that up. But there's a booking team for certain companies. And but bringing it back to Hot 97 and WBLS, typically I get an email from a PR person. Like, I'm usually interviewing celebrities for those outlets. So their PR person is like, hey, so-and-so is about to drop a project. So-and-so is doing this. So-and-so is doing that. So-and-so is in town to talk about da-da-da-da-da. All right, cool. I'm the one that has to set that up because there isn't a booking team. But that's just for that company. So, yeah.
Got you. So you've interviewed people like Angela Yee, Brandy Norwood, Lorenz Tate, Marseille Martin, plenty, thousands of people. Well, not thousands, but like many people.
A lot of people.
A lot of people. What was you, whether it was early in your career, whether it was recent, who would you say you've enjoyed talking to the most? Or like who kind of really gave you that, wow, this was just like a star-studded moment, or made you feel a little different just talking to them?
Two people. Brandy, not because like the conversation was anything like super special, but with Brandy, she was such a sweetheart. She was just so I felt her light. Like she just felt so great. And on top of that, I don't know if you've ever heard much about like the horror stories of being on a red carpet, but typically celebrities, their PR person tells them who to talk to. They don't choose like
the media outlets.
Yeah. So the PR person will walk down before the celeb comes on. They'll walk down and take note. Okay, E! News. Okay. MTV. Okay. All right. Peacock. Okay, cool. And then when the celebrity comes out, oh, here's E! News. They want to talk to you. Da, 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 da. Skip these people. Here's MTV. Da, 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 da. So Brandy, she said absolutely not. She spoke to every outlet on that red carpet, and it was it was not short. Like it took some time. Yeah, it took some time for her to get down, and I was at the end. It took some time to get down to me, and what I loved about it is that she didn't rush the conversations either. She was like, you're here to talk to me. I'm here to talk to you. So let's talk. Even with me, like I said, I was at the end. I'm thinking she's going to be like, all right, let's just get it off. She was like, hey, girl, how you doing? You know, really nice to me. She fixed my hair. I said, oh, my God, Brittany, stop because I'm going to cry. So, yeah, that was one person that I interviewed that I loved. And then the second was Erykah Badu. Loved Erykah. She has a special place in my heart because I always say that her music saved my life, which it has. Maybe we can talk about that.
You brought it up.
Okay, but yeah, so I always say that her music saved my life, and I had the chance to interview her, and it was virtual, so it wasn't really in person, but it was fine. And she was so. Whatever you feel like it would be like to talk to Erykah Badu, like that's exactly how I felt like, and I told her my story about my life and how she saved me and stuff like that, and she like started to tear up a little bit, and I was just like, oh my God, Erykah's
I know you was emotional.
Yes.
So I mean, I guess it wouldn't be fair of me to have you say that and not kind of dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
So what, if you don't mind opening up a little bit, at that point in time, what did Erykah Badu do for you in your life?
Yeah.
Saved you? Or where were you in that point in time in your life?
It might get a little dark, so let's.
No, so this is
just wanted to put that out there. So when I was, I think it was 2018. I had a suicide attempt, and it was this whole big deal. I had to go to the hospital. Okay, go ahead.
So real quick, you said 2018. So again, this is when you graduated college.
2 years after I graduated college. Yeah, in this very much post-grad depression. But it was just like my entire life at that time just really felt very hopeless. And I have depression. Like I'm diagnosed with depression. So I have like feelings of hopelessness from time to time. Like it's a chemical imbalance. Like that's just how my brain works sometimes. But in this phase of my life, there was a lot going on at home, a lot going on in my life. Like I said, like I felt like I let down so many people. So I had the suicide attempt, and my best friend from Maryland, from college, Del State, gang. She called because she knew where I lived. She called the cops to my house. And I went to the hospital, blah, 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 blah. And what I learned through that experience, interestingly enough, I've never been called to the hospital. I haven't had to go to the ER for a mental issue before, right? And the way that I feel like that they treated me made me feel so like I had to lie to get out of there. I did not feel safe in there. I did not feel like,
in the hospital?
yeah, I did not feel like they were there to help me. I felt like they were there to see what's wrong with her and put her somewhere wherever she needs to go.
Like she just needs help.
Yeah, like she needs to. We're gonna put her in this ER. Ask her these questions. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Evaluate her. Is she going to the psych ward? Is she going back home? Is she going outpatient therapy? Like it was never. I did not feel like it was a comforting space, and I feel like for people who are going through suicide episodes and stuff like that, like you need to be in a place that feels warm or feels like, you know, that I'm being helped here, and I did not feel that way. So my mom was with me, and I had to lie to them, and I told the doctor like, oh yeah, no, my excuse me, my friend just called the cops because I was overreacting, like it was nothing, I wasn't gonna do anything, like nothing happened. Big lies. These are all big lies. Like I had the intention. Wow. But I did not want to go to a psych ward. I still had to go to work the next day. Like I have money to make. Like I got bills I got to pay. Like this is not conducive to me living life properly. Right. So yeah, I had to lie to get out of there. And I got home the morning. My mom is a very spiritual woman. She was like, Zayna, go take a bath. She was like, take a bath, put some Florida water in it. I don't know if you ever heard of what Florida water is. It smells really good, right? It's a really good scent, but people, like spiritual people, use it to draw out like, you know, bad energy and stuff. Yeah. So she said, pour Florida water in there, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, cool. Again, I was not okay. I had to lie to get back home. I still felt the same feelings I felt the night before. And I'm in the bathtub, and I put on some music, and Erykah Badu's "Didn't You Know" came on. And at the end of the song, she says, "Love is light, life is free. Love is life, life is free. Take a ride of life with me. Free your mind and find your way. There will be a brighter day." Right? And when I was listening to that in the bath, like I literally felt like 30 pounds lighter. Wow. I'm a small girl, so 30 pounds is a lot. I love Erykah Badu's music. I've listened to that song so many times, but in that moment, I literally was like, nah, there is more to life. Like, free your mind and find your way, there will be a brighter day. Like, literally, it spoke to me. And, like, I felt like a light. And this sounds so corny, but I literally felt like, I felt like there was a light coming out of my chest. Like, it made me feel like I want to keep going. So, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to backtrack.
Yeah.
This kind of pivots the conversation just a little bit. What advice would you give to someone that may be dealing with the same thing, right? Now, again, it's never going to be 100% like, oh, I'm good when they look willy-nilly and, you know what I mean? I don't, deal with any of those things, so I'm very, I support those who go through things of that sort. So what advice could you give a woman, a man, or just somebody who's dealing with depression or that might be at a moment of not really being sure of what's going on? What can you say to kind of inspire or motivate them to kind of push through, or what are some habits or some strategies that they can use to possibly help them, just deal with it, I guess, just kind of move forward? And again, this is just opinionated because you're not like a doctor or a therapist.
Right.
This is all just your opinion. Like, what are some things that somebody can possibly do just to try to cope with their diagnosis?
I think, one, therapy. Therapy for sure, hands down. I swear by therapy. But also you have to remember that, again, my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
No one else can really help you. It really has to come from your own strength, and it's hard to find that strength. But no, your therapist is not going to be the one to change your mind. Your friends are not going to be the one to change your mind. Your family is not going to be the one to change your mind. It has to come from within you. You have to have the desire, and sometimes it is hard. It is hard to find, to find that desire, but these are choices you have to make, because you're the only one that is going to be making that choice to end your life, or you're the only one that is going to, like, no one else is going to tell you to do it. So
you just got to win it.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta win it. Cool. And let's kind of tap back into journalism real quick. So when I think about journalism now, I feel like it's a little bit different than what it typically was, right? Nowadays, you know, everybody's doing journalism just for headlines and, you know, clickbait and just writing, just a lot of negative, the view is negative. Whereas before it was authentic journalism, right? You really want to story tell, you really want to get people's stories out there. How do you see the industry of journalism evolving in the digital era in a couple of years? Like, where do you see it going? How do you feel about just journalism in the future, or just like now moving forward?
Bleak. I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel like the future is looking bleak. As of right now, there are so many job layoffs for those in journalism. Vice just cut a lot of their staff, Condé Nast. Just a whole bunch of different. I could name so many, like so many different outlets. That Complex, BuzzFeed. There's so many people that laid off so many different people, and it's scary. It's scary. I think that AI is going to be the death of us for sure. Absolutely, hands down, the death of us. But outside of like writing journalism, people on air, we are also losing jobs because companies feel like influencers can do a better job at not being good, but at getting an audience. So a lot of influencers are doing like, I don't know if you remember, I think it was the VMAs last year. Sweetie was doing like, she was reporting or something. She was like hosting the pre-VMA carpet or something like that. And she had a teleprompter, reading the teleprompter. She kept fucking up the entire time. And it was a lot of journalists were online like, what the fuck?
Like, why is she doing this?
Like, yeah, it was just like, some one of us could have been doing that and doing it way better than her, but because she is who she is and she has a following, that's why we're gonna hire her and not get a real journalist. It's like, we went to school for this.
Yeah, this is what we do. Yeah, wow. That's crazy.
So that's really what's fucking things up. I just really hope I'm crossing my fingers, my toes, my hairs, my legs, everything is crossed, that things go back to the way they were in some way, shape, or form. Because hiring people because of their following and not because of their skill is insane to me.
It's crazy. What advice can you give to women that want to get into the industry?
What advice? That's such a broad question.
Okay, well, so if you had a woman or somebody come up to you and say, hey, I love your work, I love what you're doing in entertainment and media, I'm looking to kind of bring it to the industry, what first steps should I take? What can I do to, hopefully get to where you are? Or...
First of all, follow Hyper Host Workshop on Instagram. No. I think that my biggest piece of advice is that, and it's kind of my same theme, that you have to want it.
Got it.
You have to want it. You have to go hard for yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. And this industry is very lonely. It's very, for the girls specifically, there are not a lot of girls out there, especially like your faves that you're following on Instagram who are in the media industry. 70% of them are not girls. They are not girls. I know, I've met them. They're not girls.
What do you mean when you say that?
Looking out for other women without bias. So that's what it is, without bias. A lot of those girls are only looking out for their clique. Don't want to talk and focus on like the women who are lower than them. Don't want to help out as many, right? It's like, I have a friend who has this little sister who wants to get into it, and she kind of got people around her anyway. So I could see it's more like opportunity. I could see how she helps me, I help her. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Where I feel like a girl's girl is just like, I'm gonna scratch your back just because you need your back scratched.
Yeah. And we're going to wrap up shortly, I don't know for the sake of time. What's your favorite thing about, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I kind of want to be a little bit more specific. What's your favorite part about journalism and just media in general? Is it writing stories? Is it being in front of the camera? Is it being behind the camera? Is it like...
It's all of it.
It's everything?
It's all of it. I love it all. I hate writing. Okay. Let me tell you, I hate writing. I hate the process of writing. I love it when it's done. I think wow, I just wrote this great article.
That's my thing. Like, can somebody break into journalism? Like, do you have to write to be a journalist? Like, is that what journalism is? Like, can you break into the industry without necessarily writing stories?
I think it's possible. Do I think it's easy to do it that way? No.
No. Okay.
I think you have to have some sort of skill set in some way to be able to write an article or 3.
Okay.
But I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible, right? So.
Because sometimes I just look at it like, okay, well, what if I wanted, like, I love to just interview people, but I don't want to classify myself as a journalist because I don't really know the art of being one. Like,
So let's make this very clear. I do think that in order to be, to have value in this industry, you have to be able to do more than one thing.
Got it.
You have to be able to edit videos. You have to be able to write articles. You have to be able to produce some shit.
Got you.
Like, so if you are, like, I went into this thinking, like, I just want to be on air. Like, I don't want to do anything else. I have one of my best friends, my co-founder at Hybrid Host. She's amazing too. Her name is Dante Ramos. Her dream is to just be on air. And she had to get a job writing for Blavity. And she was like, Zayna, like she learned and grew through that process, but it's like now she has more under her belt. So yeah, it's just, I think writing is like a need. I don't think it's impossible, but.
Yeah. And having said everything that you said about just like where media and journalism is heading, how do you think that they can better support women in front and behind the camera, right? What are some things that you feel like can be beneficial for you guys moving forward? Like, what support?
This camera's like, pay us. Pay us, that's number one. Pay us. So many times I did not have the right amount of payment for the quality of work that I bring. And I know that men in the companies that I worked for get paid more to do what I do. So there's that. Also, we need better support. I think that media industry is very male dominated, as is any other industry for the most part. And the only times that I ever felt supported in any of my roles were specifically by women, by Black women. Even the white women that I worked with that were in higher positions were not looking out for me. Black women specifically have looked out for me my entire career. And I would not have been able to grow in any field, in any company or any level that I was at without a Black woman. With that being said, though, the white men that I worked for or worked with in those same companies were not supportive of me at all in the slightest bit. And we did not, or even, Black men too, no offense, but Black men too were just not looking out for me in the same way that Black women were. And we need less of that and more advocacy.
Awesome. I want to tap into this real quick. So I saw you post something recently about, pole dancing.
Yeah,
I don't, again, this is just I've never seen somebody enjoy pole dancing the way that you do. So like, what does that do for you, right? Talk about that a little bit, just to kind of get off the topic of just like your career, but just more about you now. Like,
yeah.
What do you enjoy the most about pole dancing?
Well, let's make it.
And let's change the stigma behind just like pole dancing.
Yeah.
I just think, oh, well, she likes to, like, no.
Yeah. I pole dance. This goes back to what I was saying about how you are not your career. Like, there's so many things about you. Pole dancing, I've always been a very active girl. I love fitness. I do a lot of movement type of hobbies. So I skate, I pole dance, I work out a lot, all these things. So pole dancing specifically, I love it. So I love it so much. I think it's very freeing. It's a new way to move my body that's other than dancing or working out or yoga or something like that. I don't know if you've ever been on a pole. Men love to be on a pole. I'm gonna tell you something. Men love being on a pole. I'm just saying, like, no. I ain't asked you no question. I just said you ain't have to explain nothing.
I've never done it, guys. I've never.
Look, men love being on a pole, even if it's not like. Even if you go over to a girl's house or something and she has a pole up, like every guy, like all of my guy friends that come over, they're like, "Yo, let me see." So they start wilding out on the pole. Y'all have natural strength. So anyway, you are working parts of your body that you did not work before. Working there are no amount of weightlifting that you're doing, no exercise that you're doing, no yoga pose that you're doing that amounts to what you're doing on the pole. So your body, you feel pain in places you ain't never felt pain before. You ain't even know you can have pain in. But it's a good thing because you're pushing your body. I think that pole dancing should be widely accepted.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be this sexual thing. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to think, like, I bet when you said pole dancing, people who are listening probably like, stripper!
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Stripper! No, it's not that. But also make it clear that pole dancing, even though it's becoming much more accepted, I think, now, and much more widespread, that you cannot acknowledge the people who made pole dancing what it is, which are the strippers, like the sex workers. Like, these people are the reason why pole dancing it is. They walk so we can run. Yeah. So we cannot, that has to be said. But yeah, I think that it should be accepted a little bit more, widely spread. Even when I just posted about it, I was like, I've never posted on the timeline about the pole. Like, I always posted like in my stories. I have like a little highlight up, but I've never posted on my timeline. I wonder what people will think about me and stuff like that. But it's kind of like.
And how did you come to grips with that decision of just like, okay, let me just do it. Like, fuck what people think. I'm gonna just post this shit.
It literally was just like, fuck it.
Fuck it.
I literally was just like, fuck it. I mean, like I said, I've been posting on my stories and stuff. I don't know. I've always been that way though. Like, I've always been very transparent about who I am and what I do. And even when I was like, I used to bartend, throwing ass, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to bartend, and at that time, you had to promote that you were bartending and stuff like that. And I was never afraid to. As I grew a little bit more in my career, I was like, all right, I got to choose one or the other. But at the time, I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I am a 9-to-5 corporate baddie, and I also bartend on the side, and I throw ass and come to my bar and come get a drink, you know? So,
no, that's dope.
Yeah.
And how did you get, what was the feedback like when you posted it? Because I'm sure you'd probably
people
have
loved it. Yeah, people loved it.
How was those conversations with other people?
I think that people like me, I guess. I don't know. That's what they say. People like me because of how open I am about who I am. And I'm not afraid to jump out of the box of what it is to be a respectable woman. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in respectability politics. I believe that you are a human, so you should be respected regardless.
Absolutely.
And I think that I was able to be inspiration for other women to get out of their boxes as well and be 100% who they want to be, no matter what anybody else thinks. So I love that I can be a martyr, I guess. I'm the sacrifice.
This might go off on a little bit, but I think I just gotta ask. So, like, especially when it came to pole dancing, you're a good-looking woman, right? So I'm sure you probably have men that, like, you know, shoot their shot, or reach out to you. How do you separate the boundaries? Like, what are... Is it often that you get these type of messages? Like, do you get, like, what's the boundary like for men that you know that you're connected, or that follows your platform and things of that sort? Like, how often is people?
You know, I feel like I'm in a phase where it's like I'm not getting as many, like,
oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? People not sliding in the
chill.
DMs. Like, it's been chill lately. I don't know what that is. Maybe like I'm like, what is it about me? But when that does happen, I don't always like. I vet people. Like, I be vetting people. If someone DMs me and they're like shooting a shot, like, I'm gonna leave it on red. If 9 times out of 10, I usually do leave it on red because I have a very high standard of the men that I date, and you gotta meet certain qualifications in order to even.
So how would you know if they? So based off of their comment or whatever they say, how do you know if they're
on the level?
Yeah, if you don't give them the conversation or you don't really learn more about the person.
Well, first impression is always important. If your Instagram is corny, no, you're done.
Okay, got it.
If the way that you approach the conversation, like if you just responded to my story and said you look, you know what? Let me think of something.
Like you look good or something.
Some wild, not even that. Like, well, yes. But also, I've had some wild shit in my DMs too, like let me drink your bath water, let me and I'm like, absolutely. You think I'm gonna respond to you like that? So yeah, it always depends on how like you approach me. I prefer personally having some sort of like casual friendship with someone. If Instagram is the way to go, I prefer you respond to my stories every once in a while, not trying to hit on me, but just like, oh, LOL, that's funny, I saw that. Oh, how did you like that movie? And then I respond to your story, stuff like that. And then down the line, you're like, I was playing the long game. I was playing chess, not checkers. I would like to take you out. And I'm like, yeah, because I know that we have good conversations, like we're cool. So it's never a shoot your shot, you can have my number thing with me. It's never that.
Absolutely. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, well, fellas, look, man. All right, so this is the last question. I typically ask this, to all the guests just to kind of see where they are in their life. So if you could rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, business-wise, mentally, spiritually, 1 obviously being the lowest, 10 obviously being the highest, and why you give yourself that rating for each one. If you could be a transparent.
So you said business?
Business-wise, mentally, and spiritually.
Business-wise, I think I'm at a 7.5. I think that's really good personally. I feel, like I said earlier, like I feel stable. I feel good. I can afford to pay my rent. I could pay my dog's insurance, my insurance, my car note. Like everything is in my name. Yeah, I'm good. So I'll say 7.5. Only because there's room for improvement.
Right.
Business-wise, spiritually, right? Ooh, so I'm Muslim.
Oh.
And Ramadan starts in 2 days.
Oh, yes, you did.
Child. So that is a whole journey. I have a podcast. And
I meant to ask you about that.
I have a podcast, and in one of the episodes that are coming up, let's a little exclusive. My next episode coming up is about my reversion to Islam, which I have not. I have
Pre-Rich podcast, right?
Pre-Rich Auntie.
Pre-Rich Auntie.
I have not talked to anybody. Like I've not made this big announcement that I'm Muslim yet. Like I wanted to keep that like under wraps for so long, because I just Anyway, so spiritually, I think I'm at a 6.5.
Okay.
6.5. I feel very in tune with God, but this religion is very difficult in a good way. It's a very strict religion, and I love it so much.
Yeah.
But it's not supposed to be something that is learned overnight.
Right.
So I'm gonna say 6.5 because there's room for improvement. And then you said.
What was it, mentally, spiritually?
Mentally, I didn't do mentally. Right now, I think I'm a cool 7.5, 8. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. Yeah. Who knows? I could change when I get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? I could drive home and now I'm at a 4.
That's right.
But yes, mental health is not linear. So.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And really quickly, I do want you to just talk about the podcast.
Yeah.
What is it about? And
Pre-Rich Auntie is a podcast about pre-rich aunties. Yeah, I launched it last month. It's about the pre-rich aunties. It's just me talking. It really is just me talking.
And it's just audio.
Just audio. Right. And it's for the girls who feel like when they say like the rich auntie, we're not rich yet, because I don't even understand how we the new adults. But pre-rich aunties about things about, I talk about sex, life, friendships, love, relationships, money, all that stuff. Yeah, all that stuff about being a woman who's in her late 20s trying to get life together.
Yeah, so, I appreciate you, man. First of all, I appreciate you coming on and again, just being honest and open and transparent. And giving us, everything that you could. But I like to give flowers, man. I think you're doing great work.
Thanks.
Keep doing what you do. Big fan. You know what I mean? I love what you got going on. So again, how can they stay in contact with you? Give me your media outlets.
Yeah. Y'all can follow me anywhere at Zayna the Brand, or my website, zaynathebrand.com. I'm on Hot 97. I'm on WBLS. I'm on Blavity, 2190. Yeah. Oh, follow Hybrid Host Workshop. And,
so they want to get personal.
So look, if you enjoyed the conversation, like, subscribe, and be sure to follow us on platforms. And I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, get to the cake. I'm on a mission for maze, no matter how long it's gonna take. I could just see it already. Give me that new Benz or the Wraith. Watch my